Hey, welcome to the Simple Nutrition Podcast, a show that helps you learn practical and actual nutrition tips from an expert. I am your host, Leonila Campos, a registered dietitian with over 8 years of experience in the nutrition field. Hey, welcome back to Simple Nutrition Insights. I'm your host, Leonila Campos, registered dietitian and nutrition expert. And today we're diving into a hot topic that's been stirring up a lot of chatter: seed oils. Are they inflammatory? Should we avoid them? Or is this just another food trend fueled by fear and misinformation? Let's get into the facts, debunk some myths, and help you feel confident in your food choices. Seed oils are vegetable oils extracted from the seeds of plants like canola, sunflower, soybean, corn, grapeseed, cottonseed, and safflower. They are commonly used in packaged foods, salad dressings, and for cooking because of their neutral flavor and high smoke point. These oils are high in polyunsaturated fats, particularly omega-6 fatty acids. And then if you haven't listened to my last episode on fats, definitely go back and take a listen to that, because I talk about the different types of fats. And polyunsaturated fats are one of those types of fats that are considered healthy fats. So why is it that seed oils are in the news, are talked about more so, are a trend? And it's because just everything that is happening recently, right? Like the bad rep, I guess, that seed oils are getting at this time. But let's tackle some of the biggest myths out there. Myth number 1. Seed oils cause inflammation. The truth: omega-6 can promote inflammation, but only if they drastically outweigh omega-3s in your diet. In moderation, they are essential for our brain function, hormone production, and cell structure. The problem is imbalance, not the oils themselves. And it's just like what I tell my clients. When we put these foods into good and bad categories, right, then we almost don't know what to do anymore, right? Like, are carrots, healthy, or is fruit healthy because it has too much sugar and this and that, right? It just creates more chaos and more confusion. But it's not the single food, right? It is essentially everything that we do, everything that we eat on a consistent basis. So same thing with seed oils, right? So let's keep going with the myths here. Myth number 2. Seed oils are toxic or processed with harmful chemicals. Fact: most commercial seed oils are refined using heat and solvents like hexane, but residue levels are tightly regulated and not considered harmful in normal food amounts. Cold press or expeller-pressed options are available if you're concerned. So the key point here is that if you want to have maybe something that they don't use this type of solvent, then you can choose, when you go and buy your oils, look for cold press or expeller pressed. And if that is a concern for you. Myth number 3. Natural fats like butter or coconut oil are always healthier. The truth is, saturated fats like butter and coconut oil may raise LDL cholesterol in some individuals. It's not about villainizing one fat or over another. It's about balance, variety, and overall pattern of eating. I've had clients, and when I've done my community presentations, they ask me these questions a lot, right? Like, can I just stick to butter and coconut oil? Now, if you choose that because the flavor or because that's why you want to choose this, that's totally up to you, right? But the concern, right, if you do have high cholesterol, if you do have high, history of cholesterol issues, heart disease, then we do have to be mindful of how much saturated fat we're consuming, right? It doesn't mean that we have to eliminate cholesterol, that we don't have to eliminate butter or coconut oil, but we do have to be conscious as to where are all the saturated fat is coming from, right? Because if we are having a higher amount where that is contributing to our LDL, right, then that is a concern from heart disease standpoint. And so if we choose if we decide to use it sparingly, right, and use these other plant oils or seed oils just to help our cholesterol, right, then that's also an option. Let's see what the research says. Large long-term studies do not show a clear link between moderate seed oil intake and chronic disease. In fact, replacing saturated fat with polyunsaturated fat can lower LDL cholesterol and reduce heart disease risk. The American Heart Association, World Health Organization, and dietary guidelines for Americans support using plant-based oils as part of a healthy diet. So why the controversy? A lot of it comes from misinterpretation of animal studies, fear-based social media posts, or cherry-picked data. It's easy to get swept up into the fear, but context matters. So a lot of the times, and totally understandable for the general population, right? And really understanding research and really understanding studies, right? That it is important to get our information from reliable resources, research-backed resources, right? And research-based. Because if we just trust like this random person or this person that has tons of followers, right, to whatever they say, right, but we don't do our due diligence as to really know that, hey, whatever they're saying is actually research backed, right? If that is the case, then you have to be really wary about it, right? Like you have to understand, okay, this person maybe has an agenda, this person is trying to sell me something, or whatever the case may be, right? Like you have to get your information from unbiased resources, right? And understand like there is a ton of research that goes back for many, many years that talks about the importance of controlling saturated fat because of heart disease and cardiovascular disease, right? So we cannot just assume that just because somebody's saying that, hey, consume more tallow or consume more butter or more coconut oil, right? It's so good for you. Just because they're saying it or because they're anecdotally, they have a personal story behind it, right? We are our own individuals, and so we all have specific needs, and so we have to just take this information and question it, right? Okay, is this really what it really means, right? Is this backed by research, or is it just trying to create more fear? And I've had lots of clients come to me and say, you know what, I'm so confused. I don't know where to start. I have all this information. I have conflicting information. And it's just so much for me, right? And I'm so glad that they're here. I'm so glad that they are coming to see me, right? Because then we can really understand information that they have in front of them, right? Really dissect it and understand like this is valid information, is backed by research, and this is just like nonsense, right? And so if you have information, if you have questions about information like that, or if you're not sure about what you're reading or listening to, reach out to a registered dietitian, right? A doctor in nutrition, or someone that has the background, right, and the unbiased about the information that you're looking at to get the truth, right, about what it is that you are listening, what it is that you are reading. Okay, so what should we focus on? Instead of stressing over one ingredient, here's what to prioritize. Use a mix of oils: olive oil, avocado oil, canola oil. Variety helps to reduce the risk. Get enough omega-3s, right, from flax, chia, walnuts, or fatty fish like salmon, sardines, tuna, mackerel. Eat more wholesome foods: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, legumes. Limit ultra-processed foods, not because of the seed oils, but because of their overall nutrient quality. At the end of the day, a single oil isn't going to make or break your health. Your overall eating pattern is what truly matters. So it's so important to understand these, right? Because the other thing too, and this is what I talked about in my last episode, is that oils are part of a macronutrient, right? Part of your fats, and they are higher in calories. over twice as much of what protein and carbs are going to give you. And so that means that we don't need as much, right? We just need a smaller amount. And so when you really put it in perspective, if you have 2 tablespoons, right, of whatever oil, that is over about 200 calories, right? Now, if we think about eating consistently fried foods, right, that means that you're using a massive amounts of oil, right? It's unnecessary. We don't need to do that. We can still, be healthy and reduce our risk if that is what we're concerned about, but just using a smaller amount if we need to, right? You can use the spray to coat your pan and just cook your meals. You can use olive oil, right, for dressings and drizzle your vegetables. Don't use it for cooking, right? It has a lower smoke point, so it is going to burn faster, and that could be a risk. And so it's, again, not so much fearing the seed oils, right? Is understanding, okay, how much do I use really, right? And do I eat fried foods or fast foods that do use those oils, right? Because they are more affordable, and that combination of that and just whatever in the food, it makes it more palatable, right? More desirable. Okay, then let's change our eating habits, right? Let's add more of these wholesome foods. Let's reduce that intake. So don't fall onto this trend, right? And fear everything, fear the oils. Meanwhile, our other aspects of our nutrition are like not where they need to be, right? Focus on simpler changes. Focus on adding, again, more wholesome foods, more of the omega-3s, right? If you have found yourself having a lot of these seed oils, right? Okay, let me add more of these omega-3s, which, to be honest with you, every time I have a patient, this is something that I want to say probably 90 to 95% of the time, my patients don't get enough omega-3s. And that's probably a reflection of most of the population, right? We just don't get enough omega-3s. Again, your omega-3s are going to come from your walnuts, your flaxseed, your chia seeds, your fatty fish. If you don't do any of that, right, which honestly, I think if you don't do fish, that's fine. But you have your plant sources, right? You can add more flaxseed, more chia seeds, more walnuts. And if we notice that, okay, we're not getting any of that, okay, let's add an omega-3 supplement. Make sure that you talk to your doctor, make sure that you talk to your registered dietitian to figure out what is the best option. But you do want to make sure that you get it one that has DHA and EPA, because those are your essential fatty acids. And so think about those things, right? No, don't just fear the seed oils. Don't just fall into these trends, right? Really understand where your nutrition is at, right? And start making smaller changes. Okay, maybe I am using a lot of oil. Okay, let's decrease the amount. Or maybe I am using a lot of butter and tallow and coconut oil, and now I'm noticing that my LDL is going up. Okay, now let's reduce that, because again, we don't need a ton of them, right? It is macronutrient that is high in calories, so we just need a small amount. To create satiety, to manage blood sugars, right? To it's still something that we need, but we can get it from other sources: avocados, nuts, seeds, and so if we eat them, right, then we can get them from there. Essentially, the oils themselves, we just need a very small amount. If we need them for cooking, olive oil is great for drizzling in your salad dressings or other types of foods that we are not cooking at a higher heat, because it is going to burn faster. So consider all those things, right? The bottom line is that seed oils are not the enemy. They're just one part of a bigger picture. Don't fall for fear-based fats. Stick to balanced, science-backed nutrition. And if you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's been wondering about seed oils. And if you want to dive deeper into practical nutrition tips, check out my website, fueledbyleo.com, or follow me on social media at nutrition_with_Leonila. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I will talk to you and see you very soon. Remember, food should fuel, not stress you. Take care. Bye-bye for now. This podcast, the links and resources provided are for the purpose to educate only and are not a replacement for medical advice or nutrition therapy. I suggest you seek out the help of a trained professional to help you with your specific situation and needs.